This is how I make my Maryland crab cakes. They're not Maryland style crab cakes, they're Maryland crab cakes. I was born and raised in Maryland, and this is how I make them. This crab meat is from North Carolina. I cannot find Maryland crab meat basically anywhere in Maryland unless you catch it yourself. But this is blue crab meat. It's jumbo lump, and I buy this at Costco. This crab meat is pre-picked, and it's been sitting in its own juices. I like to put it in a colander, rinse it off with really cold water, and get all that fishy taste off of it. If you pick your crab meat fresh, you have to just skip this step. Since crab meat is so delicate, I like to do my wet ingredients first and then fold in the crab meat. So we're gonna start off with 2 eggs. I'm making a double batch, and usually if you're just doing 1 pound of crab meat, you would add 1 egg. I'm gonna be telling you how to make crab cakes if you're using 1 pound of crab meat. If you use 1 pound of crab meat, you're gonna get 4 really good sized crab cakes. I'm using 2 pounds, so I should get around 6 to 8 crab cakes. But again, I'm telling you guys how to make it if you're using 1 pound. You're gonna add 1/4 of a cup of mayonnaise, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, I don't know how you say it, but 2 wash your sister sauce, my husband said. So you're supposed to put 1 teaspoon of Old Bay, but I like a lot of Old Bay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more than a teaspoon. I would say 1.5 teaspoons. That looks good. A tablespoon of fresh parsley. Yes, you have to use fresh parsley. It gives it a great taste. I know what I'm going to say next is going to cause a lot of commotion. I don't want any Marylanders to come after me. So a lot of people use saltine crackers as their filler for their crab cakes. I'm going to use half saltine crackers and half Cheez-Its. Just try it. It's delicious. I don't have anything fancy to smash these up with. I'm going to use my water bottle. You're going to put them in a little Ziploc bag and just go to town. Smash them up until they're like little tiny pieces. Crab meat is rinsed off. It's nice and drained. It's basically dry. And before I add my filler, I'm going to add my crab meat, because the key to good crab cakes is not overfilling your crab cake with a bunch of crackers. It's really hard to find a good crab cake in Maryland these days. Either they're super overfilled or they're like $65 for a crab cake. You can buy one of these 1 pound containers of crab meat at Costco for, I think it's $39. Like, why would you not? So like I said, crab meat is super delicate, so you want to fold it over into your wet ingredients really gently or it's going to fall apart. Now that our wet ingredients and our crab meat are all mixed up, we're going to now add our Cheez-Its and saltine crackers as our binder, and we're just going to like eye it and add a little bit more. I don't know if I'm the only person out here that lives in Maryland and realizes that every time I go out and get a crab cake at a restaurant, they never have Old Bay in it. They have to dump Old Bay on top to get an Old Bay flavor, but like they are not made with Old Bay whatsoever. Now that she's all mixed up, we're going to mold her into crab cakes and then stick the crab cakes in the refrigerator. That way they have time to like form and set. Line a baking sheet with parchment paper and then put the crab cakes on top of the parchment paper. So your hands are nice and clean. I need to take my rings off. We're going to use our hands to mold the crab cakes. I like to make a crab cake basically as big as I like to eat a hamburger. So I think it's like a palm size. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, out of 2 pounds of crab meat, I got 7 really good sized crab cakes. These in the fridge and they'll chill and set. I would give it at least 20 to 30 minutes to make sure they're nice and set. I'm gonna have guests over and I don't necessarily want to make a video while I have people over. I'm gonna tell you guys how you bake them. Preheated oven at 450 degrees, you're gonna add your crab cakes, and depending on how big they are, you're gonna cook them for, I would say, 12 to 15 minutes. The crab cakes have been baking for 12 to 15 minutes at 450. You're gonna take them out of the oven and then you're gonna brush melted butter on top and then put the crab cakes back in the oven on broil for, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes, and make sure you check on them so they don't overcook and they don't crisp up.